Hello my people, I hope you're doing well today. I am back with an interesting video today. So way back when I wanted to do this thing called Ask Fopsy, where you like send in your questions about relationships or whatever is on your mind, and I, by the help of God, share my opinions about what I think, or give advice if you're open to it, obviously. And I've been thinking about it for a long time. When I had a blog, I put it there and people were like, you said you're going to start this thing. When are you going to start? This is way back when. I'm finally ready to be doing it. So this is the official launch of Ask Fopsy. Or maybe it'll be Ask Fopsy because I'm changing my channel name soon. Okay, let's get to that part. So my most popular video, which is not even that popular, you people should help my life and be sharing my video, is this video where I talk about how to introduce your boyfriend to your African parents. And people have watched it from all over the world. And sometimes, because I invited people to, ask me questions, I get DMs about like further details about people's lives where they want to share and get my advice on it. So this video is a reaction video. I'm going to share, because I did this last year actually. The person wrote to me last year. I'm going to share what the person sent to me in an anonymized way because I always want to protect your privacy. But also I believe that whatever you share with me is now also my experience. So except you explicitly say not to share, I wouldn't share it and all of that good stuff. I'm gonna share it and then you gauge my feedback. Basically tell me if you think the advice I gave was like A+, what would you add to it, and like what are your thoughts as you're listening to it, what are your reactions. That's enough of an introduction. Let's get right into it. So this babe was like, hey, I saw your YouTube about introducing your spouse to African parents and I need advice. Lol, super random, but hey. And I was like, hey, so glad he's jumping on it, what's up? The homegirl gives me the tea. I'm going to be looking at my phone because I'm reading from it. She says like, thanks for answering my question and offering to help. So I'm Black American and my boyfriend is African. She mentions the country he's from. He's currently in America and he's been for a couple years, but of course holds strong to his traditional African roots. We've been together for a year and increasingly are finding that our cultures do not necessarily align, collective versus individual culture. America is like, oh, me, myself and I get move with the times, and then like a lot of our traditional cultures in Asia, in Africa, are like about the people, about the family, which I think is a good thing. There's a balance to both of them. Let me slow down, why am I rushing? Okay, so we spoke about household expectations and find that we have different ideas on that. I'm definitely willing to compromise, but I come from a feminist raising of women getting higher educations and degrees and working as executives. Get it, girl? He supports this, but sees his family as not accepting of this. Okay? And expressed concern that unless I slightly lower my ambitions and do some of the cultural obligations of traditional African women, his family would not accept me. And as a result, we could not continue our relationship. I'm lost, lol, and I need help. Any suggestions, guidance, tips would be greatly appreciated. That's not the end of this conversation. It goes on, and I'm going to continue sharing and then remove things that might be TMI. This is such a long message, and I'm sorry. And again, thank you for your willingness to help. And a complete stranger with my cultural relationship plight. Girl, I got you. So I said thank you as well. I'm equally excited and shook that you trust me as a stranger with this information. So I'll answer the way I would with a close friend. I'm always excited when people share their life details with me, but I also take it as a responsibility. So I want to share the way I would tell a close friend. Like, I'm not going to just give you random advice because you're a stranger. I always say obviously it's left to you because I'm not about to be responsible for your life decisions. But yeah, let's hear what I said. I said, first of all, kudos to you guys for talking about important things like household expectations. You'll be shook about the amount of people that just be lovey-dovey in relationships, and I'm not talking about deep things. I think you should talk about deep things, and I have a video about that I will link somewhere here if you're watching it on video. And if you're listening on podcast, check me out on YouTube at Fopsy Nkwacha. Okay. You'd be surprised how many people don't talk about stuff like this. It's super important. Because this is everyday reality of long-term relationships. Like, yeah, there's love and everything, but we just live together for the most part. I'm happy you're both being truthful about your expectations of each other, because homeboy could have lied, so good for you. Thanks. I think that's a positive sign that he's okay with you going off and having high ambition, but I'm also feeling meh that he's just okay with it and not excited about you wanting a lot for yourself, And it feels off that he's already hinting that he might want you to play small for his family, I'm a bit torn because family is important, but you spend most of your time with just both of you and the family you create, if you create one. Not necessarily your extended family, but if you were to get a PhD, become an executive, would you pretend not to be that around his family? I'm going to pause here because I go on for a while as well. Like, I feel like it's when somebody wants a lot. Ambition isn't something that you can teach people. Like, I was talking to my friend who's also he's a bank manager, and like he coaches people, and he's like, sometimes people just don't want more for themselves. I'm like, I'm realizing that not everybody wants more, so it's a big deal that you're with somebody that actually wants great things for their lives, and you're just like, oh, okay, sure. Like, you're not celebrating that. I don't know, it feels like a mismatch, but you also have to be careful when you're giving advice to people that you don't know fully, you don't know their full context. I mean, they share what they want to share, but like, you don't ever really know the full story. This is one person's side of the story. I keep that in mind when I'm going. But yeah, if you're feeling some type of way as you're hearing my reaction, you can begin to formulate your thoughts in a comment. Okay. So I said, I understand compromise and think it's important as you merge lives. But I'm personally not a fan of early compromise. And I explain why. I think the dating phase is to find someone who accepts you fully and champions your growth. You might learn to do away with some petty needs or even toxic habits, but I don't think ambition is either of those. I don't think ambition is a petty need or a toxic habit, right? Okay. With that being said, I have older couple friends who jointly agreed after marriage that one person would stay home to care for the kids and run their own businesses eventually, maybe. It sucks that it's generally women who do this, but when it's a joint agreement and the husband is financially capable of caring for the entire family's needs, and he's not condescending and emotionally abusive or financially manipulative, things seem to work out nicely. I can think of about 3 families I know who've been married for about 25 plus years that run like this, and this is the truth. However, the women seem to be more traditional or changed. Okay, however, the women seem to be more traditional, or that they changed when they had kids and didn't want to work outside the home anymore. I find this to be interesting because I'm very blessed to have like aunties and uncles that are like friends, but they're well ahead of me, so like in their late 40s, 50s, even 60s. So and when we talk about multiple things, and these women are like strong women, strong in the sense like emotionally strong, not easily pushed around or anything like that. And like when I hear some of their stories, I'm just like, it gives me perspective that, all these social media running your mouth is not, there's more to life. Like, there's just some people's, your mind can change. you could be feeling very strongly about something today, and tomorrow you're like, you know what, my priorities have changed, and that's what it is. But I wanted to comment on that just briefly, that I really know people that have stepped back even though they could have had pretty awesome careers and they chose to run the family. And I think when I see it in Christian families, I'm biased towards Christians, I'm a Christian myself, I appreciate it more, because if you truly understand love, like sacrificial love, you want the best for each other. So even when one person is not working, like, you're not mean, you're not rude, you don't treat them some type of way because they're not working outside the house, because you appreciate and the work they're doing at home, and the love is genuine. It's looking out for the best in each other, really, is what I can say. These women tend to sacrifice their working years to run the home, because and thankfully the kids appreciate them as well. But sometimes I've also seen it work the other way. I grew up in a home where my mom worked full-time, and I mean, I turned out okay. I'll comment about that later. We turned out very, very okay, and we had help. So you can hire help. There's a lot of things you can hire help for, but I wouldn't say they outsourced raising us. Like, we still had very strong spiritual values, family values that were communicated in the time we spent together. The things that were outsourced were things that really could have been outsourced, like driving people to school. And there's no one right way or wrong, but I want you to, and let me finish my advice first, and then you guys can judge. Okay, I'm almost done. So you're asking me for advice. So here's what I do. I'm a Christian. I believe in the multitude of counsel there is safety. What I do is reach out to an older, wiser couple that we both trust and talk to them about what we're experiencing. You'd both have to agree about this. I believe you should do it together. I'd pray about it for God's guidance. I'd think about this guy as a whole. Does he support me going all out with my dreams? If I become a C-suite executive and I'm earning like 4 times the salary, which is very easy these days, does it feel like his attitude to me would change? Like, do I think I can do better than this guy? Do I think I can find someone who sees me more of an equal? because you're still dating. So this is the time to choose and to use your head and think intelligently, because like when you choose someone, then you're kind of like, you're accepting it. I mean, you can find ways out, but in the end, you've chosen. Girl, I've tried a lot. Let me give you a moment to read. I pray God grants you wisdom to make a choice that's wonderful for your future. Don't just settle for just good enough. And I like that I said wonderful for your future, because we be thinking about short-term things a lot. And yeah, she took it, and the rest of the story I don't think I should share because it gets even more personal. But looking at the whole story of it, how do you think my advice was? I stand by it till now. I think that early compromise is not good, because like if you're a fully formed person before you get into a relationship, which you should be, where you have like a sense of what you want to do, what God is leading you to do, you know what is good for you. So when you're compromising at that early stage, it means that like you're letting somebody's thoughts influence you, and you might regret it. And we don't want things that are only good for now. We want things that are good for the future as well. So I stand by this advice, and if you have a similar situation, I hope that you take what I've said seriously. I gave my advice, but I also wanted her to like go to someone that knows both of them in real life, that can follow up with them, that can hear the guy's side, that can advise the guy, that can advise the girl, that can advise them together, because I don't have that privilege. And I always would prefer that you find local counselors that you love and know both of you, because it's easy to only hear one side of the story and come to a conclusion about it. Honestly, I'm so happy for the wisdom of God in my life. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what I did not really do much to deserve it, but I'm thankful. Like some things like this, they come to me pretty easily. But what I've learned is that the fact that something comes to me easily doesn't mean that it's not like gold to somebody else. So I'm blessed for the opportunity to share, and that you guys are here listening. Let me know what you think about it, and if you think my Ask Fopsy thing will be a good addition to this channel. I'm going to work on like how to send me questions. I'm thinking I'll create an email, and I'll put that email somewhere that you can reach out to me for questions. All right, the point of this video was for you to rate my advice, and if you're listening somewhere else, tell me how you think I did. You can comment below, or send me a DM. Oh yeah, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and go out there and enjoy your lives and make decisions that are good for not just right now, but also for your future. Deuces. Subscribe.